Hi, everyone. So let's do a spread for what are you manifesting. It's good to do these check-ins every once in a while because we're always manifesting all the time, whether we know it or not. And for those of you who are manifesting intentionally and purposefully, then this will be a good way for you to check in to make sure that you're on the right track and that your manifestations are coming in. So we're starting with the Two of Swords. So you might be feeling stuck at the moment and not sure which direction to move in. We have the Ten of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, Magician, Eight of Pentacles. Underneath, Ace of Cups, Lovers, the World, Ten of Swords, Four of Swords. Underneath everything is Temperance. And when I see Temperance underneath the entire spread, this really does feel that you have gained a lot of balance when it comes to something. What I'm getting so far, and we'll go through this card by card, but I do see that perhaps you've learned to really set some boundaries. I can see that your environment is the world. So I already know, based on these two cards, that you have really learned how to level up. You've learned to set boundaries. You've learned maybe even how to say no. If you were or are one of those people who tends to overgive, you're really coming into balance with learning to put yourself first when you need to and learning to say no. That's what I have so far. So, but it does feel like you're stuck when it comes to something, that you can't move forward with something because you're not really sure which way to go. So when I see the Two of Swords, it means your thinking is a bit fragmented. You're thinking this way, but then you're also thinking this way, that Ace of Swords, that one sword is missing. You have to decide which one is the right one. So it does feel a bit fragmented, which tells me that you need to get grounded. And the Ten of Pentacles is in your challenge position. So this can be about lack of grounding because the Ten of Pentacles is very much a grounded energy. And so I do get the sense that perhaps you are having difficulty grounding and getting your thoughts straight and perhaps just feeling connected or stable. And part of bringing our manifestations into the earth realm, the things that we are manifesting, especially if we're manifesting material things, part of that is being grounded because they can't fully come into fruition. You can't fully realize your manifestations unless you are grounded. They need some way to come through and ground into the earth, and that's through you. So it feels like that might be part of the problem, that you feel like you can't catch a break, you can't catch a lucky break, that things are not really working out for you. You have already experienced, because we have the Magician in your past position. So this tells me that you have already experienced some kind of manifestations, that you already had something come through and you're now thinking, well, I don't know how I did that. It came in almost by chance. And I just saw 333 as I said that. It almost came in by chance and I'm not sure how I did that. But what I'm thinking is, because I already see the Temperance in the World, as we said, that you have already achieved some kind of inner balance. You've achieved some kind of wholeness here. We could see it with the World, that you stopped resisting something. You found balance with something. And again, I get this sense that this could be about you learning how to say no to something or someone. That you stopped resisting that. You just started going with the flow and you were like, you know what? I can't help you today. I'm going to help myself today, but maybe we can reconnect tomorrow, or whatever that is for you. So I do think that you have gone through some major transformations, but it may be grounding that might be still the issue for you. I like this. In your near future, we have the Ace of Cups. And so this is really telling me that your heart chakra is expanding. You're really learning how to love yourself. And this also gives me the impression, because the Ace of Cups is so expansive and it's in your near future and we see the world in your environment, this to me feels like this is a huge new phase for you. This is a completion, a successful completion of one cycle and the brand new beautiful beginning of another. And this is about renewal. This is about growth. This is about having a changed mind, a changed perception about something. And I think it's the way you look at yourself. This is almost feels like you are rising from the ashes when it comes to something. The way that you see yourself feels like this Two of Swords, this duality. The Lovers is a choice. The Lovers is choosing between two things. It's a high level decision. It tends to include another person, but it doesn't always have to. But these two cards are telling me that you are seeing yourself correctly. You're seeing yourself as the Lovers, and I'm seeing you as the Two of Swords. So it's like you almost know that you have to get focused. You almost know that you don't know the answer. And you may already know that you have to get focused. So this reading for a lot of you could just be confirmation that you know you need to be more focused, perhaps more energized. And I can see that you need to be more grounded in order to bring in whatever it is that you want to bring in. I'm seeing a shadow aspect of yourself with the Ten of Swords. And the shadow aspects are always very complicated. So there's a lot of layers to the shadow aspect. This Ten of Swords, again, gives me the impression that you put an end to some kind of cycle where perhaps you never stood up for yourself. You're learning how to say no, as I keep getting. You're learning to speak your truth in a respectful and compassionate way, but you're not attached to the outcome. But then I do feel that there is this other part of you that still wants to be the people pleaser and thinks, oh, maybe I owe them something, or maybe I need to not say no. Maybe I need to not have these boundaries. So I can feel you fluctuating between those two things. And I think that's why we're getting the Two of Swords and the Lovers, because you're saying, I need to love myself by saying no, but other people might reject me. Other people might stop loving me if I say no. So I feel like that's this shadow part of yourself that really needs the healing. Your subconsciousness really is asking you to hold back with this Four of Pentacles, but your thinking mind is saying, no, I need to do this work towards these people. I need to say yes. I need to show up. I need to produce. Your subconscious is saying, no, you don't. You need to hold back. And that's where I feel that this duality is really coming in very strongly. And I think that's why you can't catch a break, or you feel like you can't get a long game plan. You can't think this through clearly because your mind and your subconscious mind are struggling with each other. They're really at odds with each other between holding back and protecting myself, or holding or not holding back and producing for other people. So what I really see the energy that you're moving towards is this Four of Swords. And so this is saying that you, in order for you to reconcile these two different ways of thinking, because these are mutually exclusive decisions. You can't do the work and not do the work for someone else. You can't set boundaries and not set boundaries. So it's like, you know, you have to choose one way or the other. So you're feeling a little bit like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But what I can see here with the Four of Swords is you're going to begin gaining mental clarity. I think that's what you are manifesting, that you're overcoming this duality of thinking, because that's going to be the next big step to making progress is getting that mental clarity that right now you're lacking. And so I do think that that's what you are manifesting. I think that you've already learned how to stand up for yourself. Now it's actually doing that. You've already put it in your conscious mind that you need to stop doing this work for other people, whatever that is for you, people pleasing, overgiving, producing for other people when you should be producing for yourself. The World card is telling me you've already learned that. It's like you know it on a conscious level, but now you have to actually practice it, put that into practice, start actually saying no, start actually setting boundaries. And indulge in that. Indulge in the magic of doing the work for yourself. And then as that happens, you will get more grounded. You're going to see things clearly. And that's when you can really see your manifestations really start to come in. So let's get a few more tarot cards to see more about you. So you are showing up as the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is really about another person. It's about love. It's about harmony. So I do get the sense that you are still putting other people on the same level as you. That's what the Two of Cups is about. But this reading is asking you to choose yourself. It's good to have balance and harmony. So don't shut these people out altogether, but know when to say yes to yourself and when to say no to them and when to say yes to them. There's this perfect balance that you can strike between those two things. That's what the Two of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the Lovers are really saying here. So let's see what else we can find out about what you should focus on, your challenge, and maybe some advice. So the Nine of Pentacles, focus on yourself. Judgment, it's another high level decision. And the Nine of Cups is the advice. This is all about focusing on yourself. The Devil showed up at the bottom of this. That's that shadow work. These are these attachments perhaps to what people think, not wanting to be rejected. These types of things show up as the Devil. And I really am picking up on that it's really time that you make peace with your shadow side, that you're saying you want to say no, but yet you don't want to say no. You want to hold back, but you want to keep going forward. That's the Devil. That's those attachments that are confusing you and making you feel like you have to be everything for everyone. But the way to show up the most genuine to other people is by putting yourself first. And that's what this Ace of Cups is. And you're about to smack dab right into this Ace of Cups. You're about to walk right into it, which is how I know that you're about to see this self-love. You need to pour that love into yourself before you can pour it into anyone else. And I think that's the mental clarity that you are manifesting. The Nine of Pentacles is here saying to focus on yourself. Take a chance on yourself. Risk this on yourself. Don't worry about anybody else right now, not until your healing is complete. Also from this Nine of Pentacles, I feel like I'm getting some kind of prosperity. So in other words, maybe you need to focus more on your work or your money or your body or your home, those pentacles types of energy where it feels like once you start really make a list, for example, of all the things that you need to do for yourself and start checking them off. That's what I'm getting very strongly, because once you do that, you know you have a list in front of you that this room needs to be cleaned, this closet needs to be organized, I need to go to the gym every day again, whatever, make that make sense for you. But this is saying if you have an actual tangible list in front of you, you will start addressing those things and be able to say to the people you're overgiving to, well, after I organize my closet, I can come and help you organize yours, for example. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, just move this forward, move your own to-do list first, and then you can balance, go back and forth, but don't completely neglect your things because you're too busy doing the things that other people are asking of you. But I do think with the Judgment card here that is going to be your challenge, that you want to please. You've got the Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Eight of Pentacles, the Temperance. You want to please. You want to make sure that you're always giving and giving and giving. But Judgment is asking you to really look at that closely, to why. Why do you want to give more to others than to yourself? Really step into this empowering energy of the Ace of Cups and the Four of Swords, of healing and expanding and sending that love to yourself. And that's what the Nine of Cups is. It's about an expansion of self. It's about your personal satisfaction. The Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups are about yourself. And we're getting these repeating nines. And in the advice position, we're getting Nine of Cups. Focus on your own personal satisfaction. If you just want to stay home and watch that movie you've been meaning to watch, instead of going out with your friends and pleasing them, do that. That is what very clearly the advice that's coming through is. So I'd like to get some archetype cards here because this feels like it's very deeply in shadow work. That's what this feels like because we have this Ten of Swords in the shadow position and we have the Devil. So let's see what's going on. So we have the Vow, we have the Flame, and the Ocean. So I feel like, and underneath is the One. This can be about bringing all sides of your aspects together into one, reintegrating yourself. This can also be about Source. So we'll consider that as we read these. But with the vow card, I feel like you have some sort of a feeling, some sort of a shadow aspect of you that feels like you have to make promises to people. You have to keep those promises. You have to make commitments and keep those commitments. It almost feels like you at one point, at least, a shadow aspect of you felt like you couldn't break free from other people's wishes, their demands, whatever that is for you. But the flame is coming in with the world, saying that you're starting to feel your own vitality. You're starting to put yourself first with the flame in the world. That is your upgrade. That's why the Ace of Cups is on the way, because you really are starting to put yourself first with this flame card. And then finally, with the Ocean, there's such a depth here to what is healing. And I feel like you're really starting to do that deep dive into your shadow self. That's why we have the Devil here in this 10 of Swords and the 4 of Swords. This is really saying that the more you pour into yourself, 9 Cups and the Ocean are very deep emotional cards, which means there's deep emotional healing that's going on for you about why you feel or felt like you constantly have to be pleasing other people. But that healing is on the way. You're going to start to get mental clarity here because that's what you're manifesting. So let's get a couple of ancestor messages. I want to keep going just because I feel like this is such an important message for someone. So we have overlooked and friendships breaking up. So these probably are your shadow sides, the shadow aspects of yourself that are coming through, that perhaps as a child you did feel like you were overlooked, or perhaps now as an adult you feel like you're overlooked at your workplace, in your relationships, maybe friendships, because we specifically have friendships breaking up. So there's a lot of messages that can come through these and are coming through, that there may be a shadow side of your child, your inner child, that felt overlooked, and so therefore felt you had to people please, overgive, just so that people would notice you. And then we have friendships breaking up, and so this makes me feel like you might be giving and giving and giving and giving so that you won't lose your friends. But this is what I'm saying. It feels like you're going to bring in more of your tribe, the people who understand you more. The people who don't like that you put yourself first shouldn't be in your life anyway, is the point. And if those friendships need to dissolve and break away, then I feel like that's what these cards are saying, that it truly is a really good time for you to release people who make you feel overlooked. So let's get one last oracle card. We'll just wrap this up. So we have seduction, attraction, teasing, hooking up and date, third party, and temptation. So this again gives me this feeling that the people in your life are a bit toxic. Because if this is all about third parties or friendships breaking up or people seducing you to do things you don't want to do, which means giving when you want to hold back. So it really is lining up with everything we've been saying. It really does feel like this is the perfect opportunity for you to dissolve these relationships. By putting yourself first, holding back, put yourself first with the 9 of Cups, you will know who is meant to be around you and who is not meant to be around you. The people who are most frustrated when you put yourself first, those are the first ones to let them go. Let them fly. Let them go. Be free of them with the vow. So there you go. That is what are you manifesting? You're manifesting mental clarity on who needs to be in your life and who doesn't. You're upgrading, you're loving yourself more, and you're learning to set boundaries. So please let me know how this was resonant for you. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like my vibe, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.